Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given where necessary.
Hi!
We're back!
We are back!
It seems like such a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We had a break
We did.
and now we're back.
We're really glad to be back. I've got so many ideas for this year.
Yes, we have. We've got lots of fun ideas coming and ideas for learners and teachers. And why are you laughing?
Don't know. I just have no idea what you're going to say next. It's wonderful.
Isn't that fun?
It is. It's really
Keeping
good.
it fresh.
So we should explain that we're only going to do one episode per month.
That was a mutual decision.
It was.
We
and
decided.
The reason is
We're quite busy.
we've got a lot of projects in the pipeline.
Yes, so it's going to be a concentrated once a month affair now rather than weekly.
Yeah, I'm not sure it'd be any more concentrated than it was before.
No, all right. I thought we might try and sort of cram in all the stuff we do into one episode.
Oh, okay. It sounds like fun. It sounds like a lot of preparation.
Maybe.
Okay, thanks.
I'm ready for the work, but
Thanks for dropping that on me now. Cool. So this episode, we're just going to chat. Maybe we could catch up because, you know, it's been a while.
Okay. How's things, Gav?
Yeah, things are good.
Oh, you're like my students. Just tell me more.
I think you have to ask the right questions.
Do you not just start with how are things? How's it going? How's your day? How's your week?
It's been good. It's been good, yeah. Not much to report, to be honest.
Not much happening, really.
No.
Can't really make plans either.
It was a bit similar to last year, to be honest.
What, so far this year?
Yeah.
Oh, blood and stone. So, yeah, okay. Have you got any projects going on?
I have. Well, I thought we could actually discuss a particular topic this episode, which would fit very well with one of my current projects, which is to learn a new language.
That's a weird coincidence, Gav, because I'm learning a language too.
Are you really?
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Okay.
And I thought this year would be a good time to do that.
Well, you know what they say about New Year's resolutions?
They say you can't possibly keep them.
They fail within weeks, yeah.
So I'm thinking more just maybe a goal, a yearly goal.
Okay, so you've set yourself 1 year to get to a good level.
Yeah, well, A level meaning A.
A as in A1, maybe 2.
A1, yeah, I would be happy with.
Okay.
But A2 would be amazing.
So can I ask you a little bit about your methods of learning, Em?
At the moment, I'm just doing it myself.
You're doing it yourself?
Yeah.
What do you mean by I'm doing it myself?
I don't have a teacher.
Well, you are a teacher, so I guess you're a language teacher. Why would you need a teacher for?
Because I'm an awful student. I'm really bad at learning a language.
Are you not very punctual?
Is that what it takes to learn a language? You've
you
got
got-
to be on time.
Well, I just thought if you're a bad student, are you, a bit forgetful or...
That would be weird, wouldn't it? To be late for your own self-taught lesson. Don't know if you...
Maybe you lack motivation. Is that what you're telling us?
What am I telling you? I think at this point, as a zero beginner, I have no language the language I'm trying to learn, I have zero pretty much.
Okay.
I would be quite embarrassed to go to a teacher at this point.
Oh.
Which is a personal thing, obviously, but I would feel bad turning up to a lesson and with absolutely no language at all. So,
But I guess lots of students would imagine learning a language would mean you get a language teacher.
yes,
That's how you start.
I agree with that. But all right, have you ever had a student of English that had come to you with zero language?
No.
No. So it's not normal, is it, to turn up lesson 1 with nothing, and I don't think a teacher would be really prepared for that either. But I mean, there are teachers out there that could deal with it, obviously. But no, my plan is to try and learn by myself for 3 months using an audio book that I've downloaded.
Okay. Do you want to tell us which one?
Are we doing that?
Well, they're not paying, so maybe not.
You tell me. Do you want me to say?
Is it Pimsleur?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I think is similar to the other method, which is similar to, what's the other one called? Michel Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit like that sort of method. Listen, repeat. It's in English and the language I'm learning.
The target language.
Yeah, so it's got, I mean, I feel like that isn't a good thing really to be hearing English. I should probably just be immersing myself in the language.
Well, you wouldn't understand it if it was only in the target language.
Well, so what? You're saying teachers can't teach from beginner with their own only the target language?
Well, for me personally, I would really struggle with that. Unless it was literally stand up, sit down,
Yeah.
apple.
But
I might be okay with that.
CELTA, that is what you do, isn't it? You have a lesson which is of a language you've never heard, and you have to learn it only in that language. I mean, it is possible, and I think you do make progress quite quickly if you do that, if you literally just hear the language you're trying to learn.
Em,
Yeah.
did I ever tell you my story about learning French?
Don't think so, Gav.
I had French lessons in school, and I was a beginner. And actually, for some reason, I missed the first lesson.
Oh.
And I remember attending what must have been the second lesson. I remember we walked into the classroom and the teacher said something and all the kids sat down. So I sat down. I thought, I'll just follow what everybody else is doing because they clearly know this language already.
After one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember the teacher wrote something on the board and I think it was spelled O-U-I.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher pointed at me and said, "You boy, what's this word?" And I said, "Oi."
Oh.
And she shouted at me.
Oh.
And I thought, oh no, I don't like this language anymore. And I don't like language learning or teachers.
Right. That is a very good lesson.
It was a terrible experience.
Sorry, it's a bad lesson. I mean, it's a good lesson to learn as a teacher and a student. Yes, first impressions are really important.
Yeah. But I improved after that, and I knew the pronunciation was actually we.
That's what I thought you were.
I think that's the only thing I can remember from those classes now, actually.
Oh, that's really sad, isn't it? Because that's that first step to learning a language. And if it's not a good memory or a good experience, you're not going to want to continue. So, yeah, that's what I want to avoid anyway, not getting shouted at, but walking in and feeling very out of my depth and uncomfortable. So I'm learning on my own and I'm going to try and pick up a few phrases maybe. I'm using some of these apps that are very good.
Which apps are you using?
I'm using Duolingo.
Oh.
Which is
that paid?
No, I'm using the free version.
Okay.
There is a paid version.
Do you feel like you're getting enough from the free version?
Yeah, it's a little bit irritating with the ads.
What kind of ads do they show you? Are they relevant?
Brain training, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Kind of is relevant. How to learn the piano in two weeks or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fine because in those ads I then just think about what I've learned. So
that reminds me, I recently bought an exercise bike online, and ever since then, all the adverts I've been getting are about exercise bikes, and it's not like you need two of them, is it?
I don't know why they do that. Like, you've
doesn't-
just bought an exercise bike. Do you want another exercise bike? It'd be better if they gave you ads for, I don't know, dumbbells or something.
Yeah, maybe. Or exercising outfits.
Yeah.
Headbands.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Sweatbands, leg warmers, that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway. So that's good. I'm learning a little bit of the written, like on the apps, I can see the language and then the audio. So then after 3 months, I am going to get a teacher.
Okay, let me just go back a little bit. So you're listening, you're reading.
Yeah.
So in the apps, they write sentences. So you see the language written down, and then you're writing to complete sentences.
Some of it, basic stuff, but
and
it's
speaking?
Sentences, well, the audio book is repeating, speaking, prompting,
Okay.
and then you have to say the sentence.
I think in the apps you could also press the record button and it lets you speak into it and it checks that your pronunciation's okay. So that's actually a skill that often isn't practiced unless you've got a teacher to correct you and to listen to you.
I think there is an option on Duolingo that allows the microphone to work.
Is there?
But it doesn't seem to work.
That.
Yeah, but it doesn't...
Oh, it's not working on your phone?
Sorry, I'm confused. You said that the apps don't allow you to practice speaking, but then you also said that there's a record button that allows you to speak. So do they help you or not?
They do. I'm saying there is one. I'm saying that's really good because in the past they never used to do that.
Oh.
Like generally speaking, you can't practice your speaking.
But you can on the apps.
Until now. And now these apps have got amazing features where you actually speak into the microphone on the phone.
But the audio books require you to speak.
Yeah, I know, but you could be just mumbling incoherently.
Oh, I see.
You might think that you're saying these words, like me saying "oui."
Right, yeah.
And I might think, wow, that's a great pronunciation of the French word "oui."
I see. So there's no way of checking your... yeah, you're right. The apps are getting better.
Was that not clear? I'm sorry.
I wasn't following that, but that's good. Now I need to go back to the app and check it, though, because it doesn't ask me to do any spoken. So maybe I need to go to my settings.
Yeah, you want to check that. But that's a cool feature. Sorry, you said after 3 months...
Then I'm planning to get a teacher, an online teacher.
You'll have like a bit of confidence. You think, okay, now's my chance to interact, have a conversation with a language teacher.
Because I think you do need a teacher, ultimately. Really, you need another person to use like the language with.
Or a study buddy.
Yes, but again, like at beginner level, you don't know if you're doing it right. So
no, but as long as you're practicing, if you're enjoying it, then you must be getting something out of it.
That is a very good point, Gav, and that is my that's my motto to keep in mind is enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it.
Is it enjoyable?
Yeah, at the moment it's really enjoyable. So I don't want to lose that enthusiasm and feeling for it. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. Okay. I'm just going to see how it goes.
Okay. Have you told many people that you're learning a new language?
Yeah. Which is not a good idea for...
That's a great strategy.
No, it's not, because now there is pressure, because I'm sure in a month they'll be like, oh, how's your language going? And I'll be like, don't ask me that. So what about you? What's your method?
Well, it's a little bit different. I have this idea that a good way to learn is to surround yourself with the language, to listen to it as much as possible, even if you're not completely understanding it. Maybe it's a bit beyond your level, especially I'm also a beginner in this language and I'm listening to loads of recordings. You can get, for example, 101 Languages have loads of recordings. You can go to their website. They've got videos on YouTube and they write the sentences sometimes, or you just listen through your headphones. And I'm just listening to as much as possible. And you know what?
What?
It's slowly going in. I'm starting to think, oh, that's a preposition there, or that's a pronoun, that's a possessive pronoun, or that's the question word, that's where, that's why, that's how. And it seems to be slowly absorbing and clicking.
Well, that's interesting. That would really frustrate me, though. I'd be really annoyed that I didn't understand it. It would be demotivating for me, I think. But that's it. You've got to learn what works and what you want as a learner.
I've realised that my way of learning is not to sit down and try to memorise things, because to be honest, my memory's not brilliant. No. And I forget. If somebody tells me something, I've forgotten within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But this method seems to be working. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll let you know a little bit later in the year whether it's worked or not. Maybe I'll still know absolutely nothing by the end.
Yeah, I feel there's something in me that goes against that, because I sort of feel like you've got to work hard to learn. So maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned. Do you? Because there's a lot of...
well, what do you mean work hard? Because I'm putting a lot of time into listening to this stuff.
Time, okay. I think maybe it goes back to...
been listening and repeating, even though like a lot of it I don't really understand, but it's helping me shape the words. It's making me recognise the way of fitting the sentences, the sounds together. I really feel like it's working.
That's interesting. Maybe it goes back to my sort of first experience of learning a language, that it just wasn't fun and it required me to sit and think and struggle and try and remember. And maybe for me that means that's work, you've got to suffer.
Didn't you say you wanted it to be fun?
Yeah, I do.
Didn't you just contradict yourself?
That sort of sadistic thing where it's fun, but it's still work. It's hard fun. I don't know what I'm talking about. But these sort of promotions of language programs that say you can learn this language in your sleep.
Yeah.
You just put the headphones in, go to sleep, wake up in the morning and you'll know something. I don't know. Not to say your method is that, but it does seem quite passive, quite lazy.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. You can
no judging.
You can call it whatever you like. On top of this, I'm supplementing with an app.
Which app?
It's called FunEasyLearn. I did try Duolingo, and there was stuff about hearts, and there were adverts, and I kept making mistakes, and I just didn't really get on with it.
Very gamified, which is what I like about it.
Okay.
It gets my addiction level sort of pumping, but you didn't like that gamification of it.
No, I think they're all gamified, but this one just seemed a bit more manageable. I think there's maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 new words each section, and I was able to absorb the language and to reproduce it. And it was spelling, it was choosing the right one, lots of pictures. It really worked for me.
FunEasyLearn.
Yeah.
What other language? Do you know what languages they offer? There are lots of languages.
That's what's quite funny about these apps is they offer membership. You can learn all 52 languages. Just like, I only really need one, thanks. But
yeah, okay.
Sorry, I'm not sure if that's exactly the right number. You might need to check that.
Okay. All right. There's quite a lot on that.
There are.
Okay.
So that's it. So what I'm finding is that as I'm doing the more structured learning, which is the vocabulary and the structured sentences like you described with Duolingo, I'm hearing those sentences in the audio recordings. So so for example, the narrator in English will say, tomorrow it's going to rain. And then I suddenly think, I know the word for tomorrow. And then I hear it said in that language and it's, that was the word. Of course, it's got these like tricky endings and there's other things that you need to consider. But it all seems to be clicking.
You're starting to recognise it. And that is what it's about. It's these connections you're making and these ways of memorising it. Yeah. So that sounds really good.
And my theory is that this is how children learn. Because they are just listening all the time. They hear the language. Wow. They interact when they have to. So I'm hoping that this is me sort of childlike, passively absorbing the language. And then one day, click, I'll suddenly be able to speak.
That is quite a revolutionary idea as well, to suggest that your brain is like a child's brain. Because I just think that adult brains are not like that anymore. Like children's brains are very flexible, aren't they, and absorbent. And I feel like as we get older, it just gets more and more fixed and rigid.
I haven't read that study, but if you can email me that one, I would love to read it.
Well, okay. I think the phrase "can't teach an old dog new tricks" is the thing I remember, the idiom.
I bet you can.
I think you probably can too. So there's no reason to suggest that we can't learn as children learn. But why is that? Why don't we have more of that type of learning as adults? It seems to be very prescriptive, doesn't it?
By time?
Right, okay.
I don't know. Lots of my students say, I've got 3 weeks to improve my English for this.
Yeah.
They don't say, I'm quite happy to spend the next 5 years with you, Gav, practicing English. Hopefully it will be better by then.
No, that's true. You're right. Maybe it's those time pressures.
Kids aren't paying for themselves. Yeah, so they don't care about money, do they?
They haven't got deadlines.
No, they haven't got debt, mortgages, kids.
Kids haven't got kids. That's the most obvious fact you've ever stated. But yeah, okay. So coming back to how to be a good beginner student, what's your tips for like how to be good at learning?
That's a really good question. I would probably just repeat, listen, watch, read as much as you can.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with the language.
That's, I think, one of the things the apps say. You get rewards if you do it every day. And that is true. I feel like if I miss a day, then I don't really remember as well. So it's maintaining that pace.
And also, I find that what I wasn't able to learn yesterday is actually a lot easier today. So I shouldn't be hard on myself and think, oh, this is too hard. I've hit a brick wall of learning. But actually, I found the next day it's a lot easier and it keeps continuing like this. So I try not to put too much pressure on myself either.
I think there is a balance between motivating yourself to do it, but then not putting that pressure on, because I feel exactly the same. And if I know, okay, this isn't going in now, but I have to feel confident that it will, I think that's reassuring to think that it will eventually go in. And don't get too hard on yourself if it's not clicking straight away.
Yeah.
Because I agree, some things that seem really complicated and impossible to remember, a couple of days later, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Okay.
So keeping that in mind is a really good thing. And staying maybe short sessions. Don't really spend too long on it at the beginning.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think like maybe a 10-minute burst of studies and a little break and then maybe another 10 minutes. But to be honest, everybody's different. And you'll find that some people need to spend 3 hours solid of study. And that's the best way it's going to go in for them.
Yeah, okay. We're talking from our own personal experience. So that for me is the way I like to do it, just a little bit every now and again.
I wanted to give a good tip as well, which maybe we've talked about before, but if you can assign another word in your language to the word that you're learning, and I think I learnt this from Michel Thomas. You mentioned Michel Thomas. Can you explain Michel Thomas technique a little bit more?
Trying to remember it.
Well, describe the Pimsleur technique, because I think they might share some similar things.
I think you just listen to a conversation of that language and then they break it down into smaller sections, and so they explain what each word means in English.
Okay.
And then you are prompted to repeat that word. They go through the pronunciation with you, and then they move on to a different word and a different structure, but then constantly keep going back to the original or the previous sentences, so that you're constantly remembering and using those phrases.
And reformulating. So they change the order.
Yeah.
You might change the different noun that's in the sentence, or you could maybe change the verb in the sentence.
Yeah.
So it's about constantly reusing that language.
Yeah.
But isn't there also that idea that if there's a word that's similar to a word in your language, in English, for example?
No, not in the Pimsleur approach. They don't do that.
So maybe that's additional.
Michel Thomas just does that.
Okay, because I remember, for example, I think I was studying Russian, and I think time was something like сейчас. And this is really bad pronunciation, I apologise. But I remember them saying, very similar to sea chest. and like, I was thinking, what's the connection there? And then the guy just gave a really good explanation of like, imagine when you're travelling and it takes a long time to go on the seas, and you arrive at the island and you find on the island a sea chest. So just think about the time it took you to get there. I'm like, oh, and it's totally stuck. Like, this is years later.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking it.
Okay. Yeah, that is not the Pimsleur method, but I like it. It's like the storytelling thing that everybody's talking about at the moment. Storytelling, it's so
good.
Now.
Yeah.
And it's about memorable things, personalised things.
Isn't there also one, I remember learning Turkish, and there was, is it I Don't Know? And they described it as build me a room. And I just it just stuck in my head.
Build me a room of I don't know.
Yeah, build me a room.
That does sound like build me a room.
Exactly. And it's just these things that just stay with you for years and years. It's wonderful. I like it. I apologise to all the people that can actually speak those languages. And I've probably just really messed it up.
Sea chest and build me a room.
That's it.
That's the key to learning
I like it. And I try and do that with my students. I say, oh, you made a mistake with that word. Why don't you try and think about it's similar to this? Or is there a word in your language that's similar?
That's
just
true.
Fix those two together and you will remember it next time.
That's true. I've done that with cough and the pronunciation of cough and say, if you're going to cough, you might want to drink some coffee to stop you coughing.
Oh, I like that.
So coffee, cough. I think yesterday, actually, I said to a student, it's not angry, it's hungry. Remember, if you're hungry, you want some ham.
That's brilliant.
But it's stupid, but it might help.
I like that.
But what I will say is that I'm doing that in English.
Yes.
So this is what I'm worried about with these methods, is that they're switching from English to the target language. And I'm a bit worried how that will make my brain always think first in English and then in the language. And I want to start thinking in the language. So
of course, but as we're talking about beginners,
well,
I really think you need a lot of support at the beginning.
I hope so.
And whether it's you, the teacher, teaching in your target language, or if you're teaching in another language, you just need to find those tricks that are going to support the student.
Yeah, and then I think eventually I will want to just switch to that language. I've learned languages by only speaking that language, completely in that language.
That's amazing.
And it does work.
Okay. On that note, I think we've covered some beginners stuff there. My plan was to actually speak very slowly during this episode so that we could have some lower level students follow us a bit better, because we do speak very fast, Em.
I know, that's true, but I don't know whether anyone wants to hear us speaking at beginner level.
We could have done that. We could have done like the first episode of the year could have been done like beginner speed, and then we could go up level by level to eventually we're doing advanced and using really sophisticated language.
But I think that's a different podcast.
It's
I think
not us,
we'd have to start a different podcast and call it Learn, not Teach and Learn, but Learn with Gav and Em.
That's true.
And it's a nice idea, actually, for a podcast.
If we had
graded,
more time.
like graded penguin books get harder.
Finally, you've hit on it. There are lots of really good podcasts, lots of really good storybooks, and they're graded readers, graded audio. Check them out.
What you are describing is essentially an audio learning process, which is what I'm doing. It gets harder. I think it gets harder as it goes along.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks, Gav. You too.
I'll let you know how it goes. Well, maybe the listeners will want to hear as well how much progress we're making.
Yeah. And also, of course, you've got to teach at the same time. So you're learning a new language, but you're teaching your own language. You've got to not forget your own language.
Oh, God,
because what you want is to immerse yourself completely in this new language. But there is a bit of me that's thinking, ooh, don't want to forget what I already know.
I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think
and also, people say, I'm not specifying who said this, but people say good teachers are also good learners.
That is exactly right. And we have to practice so we know how our students feel.
Okay. So on that note, thank you, Em, for listening to me and sharing your very valuable thoughts.
Yeah, it was good. And thank you, all our listeners, if you've come back to listen to us again this year.
Thanks for coming back. See you next month, Em.
Oh. So it's going to be a little while, but we will be back at the end of next month.
A blink of an eye.
Yeah, it will go fast.
See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.